50 years ago, the town of Williamsburg captured world attention. It was all because of one special doctor who could do wonders for foot ailments. His magical hands soothed them by the thousands, and it's even been said that his work saved Williamsburg from the worst of the Depression. Dr. Mahlon Locke died of a stroke over 30 years ago, but his story lives on.
It's called manipulative surgery, the cure for arthritis and fallen arches. While it may not seem extraordinary to chiropractors these days, it was back in the 1920s when Dr. Mahlon Locke first started the practice. It began when a blacksmith, a patient of the general practitioner, complained of his feet. Locke bent and prodded them back to health, and soon he was doing the same for thousands. Newspapers and magazines caught word of his skills, and their articles on the doctor attracted people from as far away as Australia. His wife, Blanche, now 85 and still living in their home, recalls the number of famous people who came for treatment.
Mr. Mayor was one, that's a Metro Golden Mayor, and Mackenzie King, Right Honorable Mackenzie King.
He used to come quite often.
Yes, he did. He came quite regularly. And Faith Baldwin, Mrs. E.Y. Eaton, many notable people from Toronto and New York. It really did change our lives, but all of us seemed to take it in our stride, which was a good thing. Perhaps it came gradually.
How many people would he treat in a day?
Well, when he first started, perhaps, you see, there'd be 200 or 300 people, and then it gradually got to 400.
And that's when he had to move his office outside.
Oh, yes, that's when he had to go out. Even before that, when he just had about 300 people, he had to go outside because he couldn't accommodate them in the office. His offices were small, and so he really wasn't equipped, for space. So he asked me if I would help him form a circle, like get some chairs. That's the only thing he could think of. And we did. We took it out in the lawn. Some mornings he'd get up around 6 o'clock. He was an early riser. And he'd have a good breakfast. And then he'd be to work. He'd go out. And generally, when he'd go out the door, he'd be stopped 6 or 7 times before he'd ever reach the circle, because everybody was right there to ask him a question. Then he made the circle, and he'd treat for, perhaps an hour and a half. And then perhaps he'd come back in the house for a little rest or something. And back out again he'd go until he finished. Sometimes in the night they would start to line up. And then it was a hum, and it was difficult to sleep. If I hadn't been younger, I suppose, and tired, it would have been difficult. But you did sleep.
While the rest of the country fell into a depression in 1929, the people of Williamsburg survived.
All took advantage of the situation, and there were rooms to rent, and they took in the patients, and meals to be served, and so everyone helped.
There were restaurants and theaters.
Many restaurants, and a theater. Of course, we had the Piccadilly Theater, which was a good theater.
What about wheelchair boys? I understand that.
Oh, we had about 25 or 30. And they were nice boys, all of them.
And they would bring the people from the place they were staying to Dr. Locke?
Oh, yes, and they all helped them, and they were all so kind and good to their patients. Acted, actually, like orderlies.
Dr. Locke also revolutionized the shoe industry in North America.
He put an extra wedge in the shoe to act as an arch, which helped raise the arches, too. And sometimes he put wedges in the sole. He would, design them that way.
He was called a miracle man, or referred to as a miracle man. Was he?
No, I don't think he was. And that was something that he really didn't approve of either. He never thought of himself as a miracle man. It was, he just was a doctor, and he loved his work. He was so natural and rather a humbled sort of man. Pride never got to him, or fame. And I don't know of anybody that was more charitable.
He'd treat people sometimes without expecting pay.
Oh, yes. He was most charitable.
It's been 38 years now for you without him. When you walk into his study, do you still feel the energy of the work that he put into that whole practice?
Well, I often look around, especially, his books, when I'm cleaning his books, or the desk. Yes, you do feel a certain closeness, I guess.